For quite some time now, I feel like I've lost my childlike ability to dream big. That my ambitions are something that can actually come to fruition. The biggest version of my ambitions. But lately there's been a shift in my mindset. I feel like I'm catching a second wind. There's hope that's kind of the wind beneath my sails now. And it leaves me with a question that is a tricky one. What are you gonna do about it? I've been here before. High in motivation, just as if it's the dawn of a new year. But let's be honest, how many of us even remember what our resolutions were? Motivation is such a volatile thing. On those days when we're just not in the headspace to follow through with our commitments, motivation alone is not enough to get us through that hurdle. If we want our ambitions to actually happen, big or small, more than motivation, what we need is discipline. While motivation is good, discipline, that's great. This is honestly a letter to myself because wow, even recording this video, the process of getting here, man, it was tough. It was tricky, but we need to make a decision to do so. Not based on our emotions, but that's founded on discipline. When we look back at our lives, we can remember all the significant moments, But honestly, on a day-to-day, our lives are not comprised of those significant moments. It's established by the small daily decisions that lead us to those points in time. These micro decisions determine the trajectory of our lives. If we let these short-term, momentary desires determine the direction that we go, rather than the big goals and the real things that we desire out of life, our lives can fall apart really quickly. So instead of trying to show up for one significant moment, we need to get good at making daily decisions, disciplined decisions that will ultimately lead us in the direction that we want to go. There might be a problem with this philosophy though, because my motivation is so closely tied to my passion. And if I'm going to do things without passion, then life will lose its color, its vibrancy for me. In reality though, I'm actually just getting in my head. The truth is that I can't think of a time where I pushed through the resistance and did the thing that I wanted to do and felt less passionate about it. If anything, I felt like it gave me more motivation, more passion. I never regret doing the thing that I set out to do. It's always in it that I find my motivation. This is all easier said than done though. We need some practical tips to get us there. I can't will myself to be disciplined. I need a plan. The first thing you can do is rewire your identity. We tend to view ourselves in very binary terms. It's either I'm one thing or I'm not. And with discipline, we do the same thing. We identify with it. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a tool. We ourselves are not undisciplined. We are not being disciplined. Viewing things this way gives us the opportunity to make the decision to use the tool. If we identify ourselves with being people who are able to grow in discipline, then we're gearing ourselves to be able to actually accomplish the things that we're dreaming of. How many times do you guys think I said the word disciplined in this video? Yikes. The next one, and this is a bit of a loony one, is quit in advance. Before you even start, quit. Now this could sound like, the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish, but believe it or not, quitting is a very powerful tool to becoming and developing our discipline. There's this tiny but really helpful book called The Dip by Seth Godin. And in it, he has this interesting suggestion. He says we should set the terms of what will cause us to quit ahead ahead of time. He has this story about a marathon runner. When you're running a marathon, there are so many opportunities to quit. There's so many opportunities to give up. And he decided in advance what are the terms that are going to get him to tap out. If he's getting a cramp, that is not a term for him to give up. If he needs the bathroom, that's not a point for him to give up. There are specific pointers when this happens or when this happens. That is when I know I need to quit. But other than that, there is no quitting. And this deciding in advance helps your current self make sober decisions. It allows us to really think forward and go through the pain knowing that we signed up for this. We can apply these same principles in our lives as well. For example, right now, I'm trying to keep at waking up at 6:30. Now, I mean, that's probably not that early for you guys, but that's where I'm at. Please don't judge. I've told myself that I can quit and sleep later in certain conditions. If I went to bed really late and I set my alarm to a different time ahead of time, the night before, then I can wake up later. Another one is if I did not get a good night's sleep, I wasn't able to stay asleep for most of the night, then that's another exception. Aside from these, when I wake up and I'm feeling groggy, it doesn't meet the terms of the agreement. And so if I get up and take a shower, brush my teeth, drink some water, and I'm still feeling a little bit tired, then I know it's not sleepy tabang just trying to take advantage. It is legit fatigue, and I can just then go back to sleep, at least for a little bit before I go to work. Deciding in advance when to quit can give you perspective in the moment when your emotions are trying to overpower your logic. While your motivation in those moments may be gone, your future self is there as your cheerleader with a pep talk telling you to push on, or telling you gently to be kind to yourself and to sit this one out. Lastly, we need to beat the average. In the midst of us establishing better habits and better mindsets, we're gonna mess up. We are human, and regardless of how hard we try, at some point there's gonna be some kind of mistake. And personally, when I'm on a roll and I'm just going day by day and I'm really establishing a solid streak, when that falls apart, I fall apart. I just feel like throwing in the towel, I give up and I lose all the vuma, the energy that I had before. This was because I hadn't established a healthy room for error. While we're pushing ourselves and training our discipline muscle, it's important for us to look at the trend that we're taking. If we're having more good days than bad days, we should celebrate that. Matt Diavella has this thing called the 1 day rule. The rule essentially is that it's all right to miss a day. You just can't miss 2 in a row. As long as you're doing more good than you are bad, even if your discipline isn't perfect, there's a net gain and a positive trajectory towards all the things that you have in mind. Discipline is a form of self-love, because now I'm treating myself as somebody who has my best intentions in mind. I'm a happier person when I push myself to do the disciplined thing, even when I'm not motivated. Let's spend some time and find ways for us to give ourselves the gift of discipline.